Hi, welcome to Bar Cart Bookshelf, a video series about books and the drinks they inspire. My name is Elias, and today we're talking about Audition for the Fox by Martin Cahill. Audition for the Fox is a fantasy novella of divine intervention and time travel shenanigans. It's the story of a young acolyte who is several times descended from one of the 99 pillars of creation. She has found herself in her community having to direct her magical, spiritual, arcane energies towards the worship and alignment with one of these pillars. Unfortunately, when we meet her, she's failed 96 of her auditions, including with her great-great-grandfather, the Bison of Strength, and she's got just a few options left to her, including Sidon, the Fox of Tricks, and all of their wily machinations. And so, deciding that the Fox of Tricks was a safer bet than the Snake of Assassinations or the Lion of War, she goes into their temple and is immediately yeeted back 300 years into the past to a pivotal moment in her country's history where they're facing occupation from the exiled 100th pillar, the wolf, and is forced to audition for the fox by creating conditions appropriate for the revolutionary spirit of the time. You know, this is a time where there is a lot of discontent around this military occupation, understandably so, but there hasn't yet been that flashpoint of transformation, and she knows that this is supposed to happen because in her timeline it has happened, but then once you go back there, you're already getting things, in motion. It's a funky little brew, and we've got gods who live outside of time, who are in this very sort of historical, quasi-medieval setting, but also from time to time, in the tradition of like Merlin in T.H. White's Sword in the Stone, are referencing things that we already know exist in our present time. So we have this sort of funky time shenanigans going on. We've got this very present, tight moment, and then we have these wonderful intercuts of folktales and myths from the life of Sidon, the Fox of Tricks, seeing how they operate in this sort of trickster archetype and the conflict between them and the wolf. And so we get just a wonderful little addition to one of the oldest story forms that we have, the animal fable, and something that is like refreshingly modern. It's funny, it's poignant, it's thinking about what it takes to arrive and meet your moment, and what it takes to be an important part of something, but also to still ultimately be a small part of a much larger project. It's a lot of fun. It's really smart. It's a joy to read. I would read a lot more adventures of Nessie and the Fox. I certainly hope that we have more in the pipeline on that. And so, of course, we had to have a drink. Our drink today is the Sidon, named for our Fox of Tricks. And we will start with 1.25 ounces of Scotch whiskey. And I'm using the Speyside Scotch from Trader Joe's today because when you are in an isolated fortress and in this sort of forced labor camp, you're really going to take the whiskey you can get. And when it's whiskey this good at this price, it is great for making cocktails. So we will get 1.25 ounces of that in there. The magic of Sidon has this smell of lemon and smoke. So we're getting the smokiness of our Scotch whiskey there. And to that, to get our lemon, we will get 1/2 ounce of fresh lemon juice. Get that down in there. And then We have a great fondness for coffee caffeination, a bit of darkness in here. So we'll get half an ounce of cold brew concentrate. And that's going to bring a bit of that smokiness as well as a touch of fruitiness. Let's get that down in there. And then we will get our sweeteners. And for our sweeteners, we will get half an ounce of peach shrub. Peach shrub, it's a fruit syrup made from vinegar. It's going to have that vinegary tang, that brightness, sharp as a fox's teeth, but also the sweetness of the fruit here as we're in our transition from summer into the long and golden autumn. It's going to bring that lovely bit of summer fruit with us all year long, that bit of preservation. And we have one of these folk tales in the novella where Sidon, in the sort of tradition of Brer Fox and Brer Rabbit and the Briar Patch, this idea that Sidon might have an over-exaggerated antipathy towards overripe peaches. And so that's played to great comic effect in the story. Something that we can preserve in our cocktail, inspired by their wiliness and tricks. And then finally, because the fox, they make their home in the wood between the worlds, and it's a perpetual autumn there, we're going to get 1/4 ounce of maple syrup. Great for adding a bit of that fall flavor any time of year, that richness, that sort of golden caramelized woodsiness to our cocktail. Finally, we'll add our ice. We always add our ice last, because if you step into a fox's temple and they immediately send you 300 years into the past, you don't quite know when you're going to get back, and you don't want to come back to your present time and find a watery cocktail. We can't have that. So we'll shake it up and wake it up. There we go. Nice frosty freezy there. Much more pleasant than, having to be imprisoned in a fortress. But maybe about the same temperature. They're going through it. Don't worry. The revolutionary spirit is on its way. I'm sure we'll figure it out. I'm sure we'll crack it. We'll strain that into a stemmed glass, like so. Perfect. And there you have it. This is the Sidon, inspired by Audition for the Fox by Martin Cahill. Audition for the Fox is available now. I've got a link to snag it in the description down below. A huge thank you to the publisher Tachyon for sending a review copy my way so that we could celebrate it on release day. I had a really wonderful time with this one. I think you all will as well. I've got links to purchase my book, Cocktails and Consoles, 75 cocktails and mocktails inspired by the wonderful world of video games, including time travel shenanigans like the Zero Escape games, which I really love, same as this here. We've got links to various forms of social media, including Blue Sky and Instagram, where there is always a written version of today's recipe. Try the drink. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Hit that like button. It makes me so happy when you do. Subscribe if you haven't already so you never miss an episode. We've got some great books coming to round out September and then head into our October spooky season programming. Really excited to share those with all of you. And so, until next time, cheers.